how'd you keep the drive?
Honestly?
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. All the naysayers, all the haters. I mean, God, the fuel is in abundance in this world. The fuel is everywhere.
Right, we're going to go on a mad little journey. Obviously, there'll be a lot of people in this room that already know parts of your story. We're going to touch upon those. We're hopefully going to use parts of that story to inspire this audience. My first question to you will be, how do we conquer fear?
Well, the best way to do is studying it. So when I was growing up, fear used to paralyze me because I didn't study it. So most of us are afraid because it's unknown to us. We see something that's difficult, something that's challenging, something that tests our soul, tests our what we think is our limits, and we're afraid of it. But once you start to study what you're afraid of, it usually starts to make that fear very controllable. And once you learn to control the fear, you can make it work to your advantage.
What are your own personal experiences of that?
The water. I fucking hated the water. Beyond, man. So that's why there's not many black people in special operations. You know, they don't want to talk about it, but I'm open about it. So, you know, growing up, a lot of black kids aren't growing up around fucking lap pools and shit, swimming in pools. So you have a natural fear of it. So for me, the water was terrifying, especially the way they did it in special operations. In special operations, it's not like you go to the pool and you do some lap swimming and every 3 or 4 breaths, you get a little, breathe. No, they put you in there and sometimes they tie you up. Sometimes they go down and shark you. You're not breathing. You're underwater and you're guppying the whole time. And it's the great equalizer because no matter how good you can swim, they want to test to see how good you are underwater. So I didn't know much about that. So I taught myself how to swim, but when I got to special operations training, they have this thing called pool comp. And it just tests your soul, man. So I had to really get over that fear of like being tied up, having instructors coming down, when you have your regulator on and sharking you, taking the regulator out, keep you in the water, just doing stuff that, just medieval shit.
Getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, I think you've referred to that as. In general, I mean, other people might have different types of fears. Yours obviously was the water, but getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
I was afraid of a lot of shit. Water was one of them.
But getting comfortable with the uncomfortable seems to be your mantra of how you get over fear. Is that a fair assessment?
It is. You know, that term has been used a lot now. Getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. It's just trying to make it your new norm. So for me, I was in SEAL training for 18 months. It's only a 6-month program. So most people go to BUD/S, SEAL training, and they graduate the first time. You know, they get there and the first thing they say is, I'm never doing this again. I'm gonna get through the first time. And they call it first time, every time. I wasn't that guy. I've never done anything the first time, every time. People think I'm fucking Superman. I'm not that. I just don't fucking give up. So when this thing happened, man, I had to develop a mindset that would keep me in hell for a long fucking time. Like when I grew up in a $7 a month place for a long, for like a couple years. Small little tiny place, but I didn't know any fucking better. So it didn't bother me. The second you move out of that $7 a month place to a bigger home, you realize that place was small as hell. So what I have a way of doing in bad situations is I put myself as my new norm. Navy SEAL training, I was there for 18 months, became my new norm. There was no life outside of those walls of Navy SEAL training. Therefore my mind adapted to the situation and being uncomfortable, that just became my new norm. I didn't think about comfort. I didn't think about anything outside the walls of discomfort. So that's how your mind starts to adjust to it. What I realized that the biggest accolades come from when you want to be proud of the person that you are. And that's all the purpose, all the desire that you need. You don't need some carrot in front of you. The carrot is all around you. The carrot is you. You are the fucking carrot. And that's what we miss. We all, I don't have a goal, so I'm not gonna work out today. So you choose to be lazy and fat? Doesn't that feel like something? We shut these feelings off. And we have to have something to achieve. You need to achieve yourself. And that's all the desire and all the purpose that you ever need in your entire life. So then when the things do come up, that 5K, that 10K, that job at some financial company, you're ready. You're always ready. You are always ready because you're always training for the day that you show everybody how much you love yourself. Because by you putting that time into yourself, you never show up fucking out of sorts, out of shape, out of mind, out of body. You always show up ready to fucking go. And that's the thing about it. Fuck a goal. You are the goal. So when the goal comes, you fucking crush it.
As if you're not giving that a round of applause, that was just awesome. With that then in mind, how do you balance everything else in your life, i.e. relationships and various other things like that? Because of course there'll be people in the audience, and I'm most certainly one of them, that is, let's say, a goal setter and being hell-bent on goals, and I've just taken that advice of what you just said there, but how do you balance then everything else? Because not everybody in everybody's life here will be on the same path as them.
Not at all. Don't take this the wrong way. I believe this is where I really messed up growing up. I had a lot of balance as a young kid. I tried to find that balance. That girlfriend, that family, all that shit. But what they got was they got a worse version of David Goggins. They didn't get my best self. So I believe that it's important, and once again, don't take this literally. You have to be unbalanced for a period of time. And in that unbalanced state, what you're doing is you are finding yourself. You are maximized, I call it maximize minimal potential. So it's kind of hard, I'm using maximize and minimal potential. But I didn't have much potential. So I had to learn to maximize that. So a lot of us don't have a lot of fucking potential, but if you learn to maximize that potential to the fullest, you're great. But if you have minimal potential and you don't learn to maximize that, you're never gonna find that greatness. So what I did is I had to kind of go back to, I went to being unbalanced for a while, and I put everything into finding my best self. Now, I found my best self. So everybody who touches and gets around me gets a better me. So I can now help people, my family, friends, anybody, a lot more than getting a half-assed, balanced David Goggins. Now I'm balanced. But I had to be unbalanced to find my greatness, to find my best self, so I can do a better job for all those around me.
In the unbalanced state, not everybody will have understood what you were doing at that time. How did that affect relationships, whether they be personal, working, all those things? How did that affect life?
Sometimes they went away, and that was the price I was willing to pay. Because I knew, and only you know where you want to go. It's not about being selfish. There's one life to live, and I call it my foxhole. I pick the right people to go to war with me. So if you tell me, let's say you're in my foxhole, and you wake up one morning and you say, hey man, I want to be a doctor. You know, we have those days where we dream big, or I want to be an astronaut. Don't ever tell me that shit. Because I'm gonna make sure the next morning I Amazon your ass all those fucking books to start studying. Don't ever come to me and say, I don't wanna go to school today. I wanna drive your fucking ass to school that day, and I'm gonna wait for you outside the fucking school to take you back home and help you study. Those are the people that understand what's important to you, and you do the same thing for them. And sometimes that takes an unbalanced mindset, but a lot of people in your foxhole sometimes need to be unbalanced, so they understand, and they don't take it personal when you don't come home for 2 or 3 days, you're out in the backwoods running. And then when you do come home, you have a plate of food for you. You have your electrolytes, your drink, because they know what you were fucking doing. And then when it's time for them to get busy, you do the same thing for them. So you have to find the right people to support what you're doing, because if not, you will definitely be pissing off a lot of people. They'll think you're selfish. They'll think you're just the kind of person that you're not. You're not trying to be that. I'm trying to be the best version of myself. And that comes at a great sacrifice to many people, but especially yourself.
You must have come across people that didn't understand that though. Mm-hmm. That didn't get in the foxhole, let's say.
Yeah.
And that must be a difficult emotional battle at the time.
It was at first, but then once I realized this is important to me, and I hate that you're not jumping on board to help me out, because this could give all of us a better life. And after a while, it was fine. It was fine, because once again, I had to make hard decisions to get to where I'm at today. So instead of helping a handful of people, I'm now helping millions. And that sometimes you gotta listen to those voices that are like saying, hey man, this is gonna suck for everybody. But the end result is what I was looking for. I'm a very patient man. I can watch fucking grass grow, 100%. I'm a patient man, because that's what it takes for you to get to where you wanna go. All the failures, all the ups, all the downs, all the broken relationships, all the people not understanding who you are. At the end of the day, you have to be able to realize the process is long, the journey is long, but where do you see yourself 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years from now? And I saw it all, and I'm here. And I'm helping out a lot of people right now, especially my family. So, it was worth it.
How'd you keep the drive?
Honestly?
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. All the naysayers, all the haters. I mean, God, the fuel is in abundance in this world. The fuel is everywhere. You know, like every day I wake up, I have either a naysayer or a hater or somebody who thinks the story's not real, but in the beginning, how I kept the drive was, how am I gonna feel if I make it onto that graduation stage as a Navy SEAL?